hello, Quinn.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good, thank you for the ride.
You are welcome. You look amazing.
Oh, thank you.
What's the occasion?
Well, I'm going to an appointment first, but then we're doing like a casino night fundraiser thing, yeah.
Gotcha. Those are apparently really helpful, aren't they?
Yeah, they are, yeah.
Is it because people just show up willing to spend money?
Yeah, I think so. It's at the petroleum club, so it's all like oil and gas people, so they like to spend money.
I see. Well, it'll be hard to say no to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
How's your day? Busy?
It's been steady-ish. Steady is probably a good way to say it, yeah.
That's good.
Steady is a good way to say it. I'm grateful for the work that I do.
Me too.
What do you do, dear?
Oh no, I'm grateful for the work you do.
Oh, I love it. Thank you. It's nice to be affirmed. You're a mom.
Sorry?
You're a mom.
I'm a mom? No.
Okay.
No.
'Cause when
Stepmom.
When I think of those who do this, what do you call it again? The raffle thing at the.
Yeah, like the fundraising.
I think of them raising funds for kids things usually.
Yeah, it's the Lions Club, so I think it's a charity that like pays other charities.
Gotcha. Okay. And where I was going to go with that is like moms rarely ever get that kind of kudos or gratitude from those that they're looking after, right? Not till like decades later, but.
Totally, yeah. No, I agree.
But thank you for appreciating me.
So much. Do you remember the days before Uber and you had to call a cab and it would never show up?
I never took cabs, so I didn't have to. But I remember the days where I either walked to where I needed to get to, or I took the transit. So yeah, not convenient for sure. I agree.
Much better.
It is. I like great ideas, and this one here. I mean, I liked it so much that I made it my full-time gig.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Are people generally good? Like, do you ever have any bad experiences? Or not?
Well, I've done over 13,000 rides so far.
Oh my god.
And I only remember 2 for the wrong reason. And even then, that wasn't like anything noteworthy, but just unpleasant. But only 2 out of 13,000.
Was it like, that's really good, yeah.
I know. That's
Was it like late night drunk people?
It was late night for sure. And I mean, I do drive drunk people all the time. And they're so much fun. They're such a blast to hang out with, honestly. Yeah, so, well, I guess I also account for my skill set socially, which is, I think, why my experience is unusually like as good as it is. So I can manage people fairly well, I feel.
I can see that, yeah.
But yeah, the 2 that I remember, it was just one-offs that were like, oh, that was really weird, like unusual in the sense that it rarely happens like that. So
That's good. I'm so glad to hear that, because you hear of like horror stories of people just being mean.
Absolutely, yeah. Like do a YouTube search for Uber, and they'll be taking you right to like the challenging experiences that happen.
But
usually.
I guess it's like that anywhere too. Anywhere you work, it can be like that, right?
I think so. Yeah. Quinn, what do you do for work?
I'm a social worker.
Cool. Oh, you're my second social worker today.
Oh, really?
Seriously. Oh my goodness. The first one we almost were at the verge of solving the world's problems before I had to drop her off, and so it just all went for naught. But
Well, good for you. 'Cause I had you in That's funny.
You've done
you
this?
live in Calgary then?
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
You're
Yeah.
just going right out here?
Well, I knew you were coming up on my queue. No, I didn't. So I had to come especially to pick you up. No, I drive all over. So from here to Airdrie to Calgary, all over the place.
Yeah.
One of the things I love about my job.
Yeah, that's good. Especially in good weather.
Indeed, yes. Like today. Oh, yes. How long have you been a social worker for?
I started when I was 19, and I'm 31
Started
now,
when you were 19?
Yeah, I started working at group home at 19.
Okay.
I'm 31, so like 12 years.
But why do you do it? Because it's a very demanding career.
It is. You know what? I worked in like shelters and group homes for a long time, but now I work at 9 to 4, partially downtown, partially from home. So it's like I have a better gig. I couldn't still be in like the group home shelters, but now I do like like support for workers, like workplace sexual harassment, workplace discrimination. We like file human rights complaints for them, like that kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was recently talking to a friend of mine. She works with, well, she volunteers and helps out with those who are on the streets.
Right.
So I'm gonna go join her and her crew like on Tuesday because I'm really intrigued. Like this world that you're in.
Yeah.
When I meet people there, I'm like, tell me why. It's not because I don't believe like people should be there. I'm so grateful for people like you. Honestly, I really am. I really am. And for me, I'm more interested in, whereas most people would not see the need or the investment, because it is a huge investment and it takes a toll on a personal level, I imagine. I'm very curious as to like the why behind it all. You know, what's the motivating catalyst that keeps one there? And
Right.
so, even as I'm looking forward to like this excursion with my friend and her team, the ones that really draw me in a personal way are like services where kids are involved. And so I'm thinking of like, I don't know, families that are displaced, for example, you know, in from the cold, or the
like child services.
On that.
Yeah, those ones are tough jobs for sure.
Yeah. So, in like manner, and I like saying things carefully, but I appreciate you for what you do in that space.
Thank you.
Yeah, the social worker I was talking to earlier, we were talking a little bit about the challenge of finding safe places for kids who are in the foster care and adoption zone.
Right, yeah.
And the challenges there, even in spite of upcoming cuts that are affecting that whole zone, you know.
Oh yeah, it's never reliable.
Part of what made me sad in that conversation was when she was telling me that there seems to be a correlation, like if there's not enough funding, then there isn't as much by way of support to people who are willing to take them in, you know. So just still reflecting on that.
Well, and funding is always fluctuating, like you can never really depend on everything.
Are you an original here, Quinn?
I am, I'm from Airdrie.
Airdrie, like born and raised in Airdrie?
Born and raised. I moved away for school and then I came back.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, what about you? Where are you from?
I'm from Africa.
Okay.
But I grew up, I was 8 when I moved here.
Oh, really?
And that was to BC. So BC is like hometown for me.
Nice.
Yeah. And then I moved out here for my grad studies about 16 years ago. And then I went on to Saskatchewan for a few years. And then I came back because I was like, I miss the mountains. I like this area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My brother-in-law is from Rwanda.
Okay.
He just became a citizen last year.
Ah,
it's very exciting. He's here now. He's married to my fiance's sister. They have 2 kids here, and So I'm just going to visit one day when our kids are a bit older.
That's amazing. So how old are your stepkids?
They're 9 and 6.
Okay. Young season.
Yeah. Some of them they're a bit older, but
I have 12 myself.
you have 12 kids?
No, I'm kidding.
Oh.
I didn't say that.
Some people do. The people across the street from us, they have like 12 kids.
Okay. No way. Seriously?
Yeah.
How do they all fit in there?
I don't know.
Okay.
They have like a huge van to drive them around. But to each their own. Like,
Absolutely.
I can just not imagine. Do you have any kids?
I have 3.
3? How old
Yes.
are they?
13, 11, and 10.
I was 13.
I've worked with kids for a long time, including teens. I'm excited about this next season. I really am. So that's my first one. And so I've got 2 girls who sandwiched their brother. And I know, like, I've worked with kids so I used to be an English teacher once upon a time.
Oh, cool.
I've had lots of time, like, interacting with from young all the way through. And so this next season, I'm actually really ecstatic about. I'm excited just because, I don't know, it's a new season. And I guess something that's helped me along the way is watching, the experience of other parents for sure with their kids over the many years, but also trying to reflect on what's the main agenda here. Like, what are we trying to accomplish? And in my periphery of observation, it's been very clear saying the main gig here is we're trying to like create independent human beings, right? And so teens is just when all that really takes root, you know, in a very intentional way. And so I'm so excited to see how that happens. And I definitely see that happening already for mine. And in some sense, I like to do well in this season, where the tendency for most parents is like hang on and, you know, just kind of constrain them and still control their, you know, trajectory, as opposed to you'll figure it out. I'm here if you have questions, you know, kind of thing. So
yeah, no, that's a good perspective. It worries me, like the 9-year-old is a girl, and yes. I remember being a teenage girl and like what it was like, and like that was before the internet, right? So it worries me a little bit about like social media and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like you say, just like be there and be that good.
I read this book once, and I don't remember the name of the book, but it really inspired a lot of the way I see kids, especially from a parent role. It talked about 3 different seasons our kids go through. So the first one is Give Me Your Hand season. So Give Me Your Hand is where they're first born in the world. You're helping them understand, not through explanation, why they can't, for example, run into the street in front of a moving vehicle. Consequences. There's no negotiation. Give me your hand is no, we're not doing that, right? Or here's why we don't put our hand on the hot plate on the oven, for example. That's the give me your hand. And then when they start growing a little older into like the 4-year-old, when they're asking well, why? You know, they're always inquisitive.
Yeah.
That's the give me your mind season. So give me your mind is, let me help you understand now the logistics. Here's the physics of what happens should you walk into a moving vehicle. You go splat and you don't have a second option here, like your video games entail, right? So that's where you're helping them understand cognitively.
Right.
And then the final one is probably my favorite one, and that one is Give Me Your Heart. And Give Me Your Heart is when they're moving into that, I don't know, I'd probably say by 10, 11, 12 is when they start expressing that independent desire, you know? And by that time, it's actually game over for trying to like input anything significant in their formative years. All that was happening at the early season. Now it's more like just influence is all you have. And influence is more like, can I earn the space in your life so that my words still count for something, right? And right into the teen years. So that's what I'm really hoping to strike with mine when they move into that season, is saying, I want to give you credit for what you're already seeing and experiencing, while still having a voice, so that you still come running to ask for my perspective. How can I win that space, you know? Instead of fighting and arguing with you, how can I let you experience things over time? And that's painful for a lot of parents. They don't want to see their kid making the wrong decision that can impact their lifetime. For me, I've seen the whole education from my experience. It's not as serious, I would argue, as many would make it out to be, you know, because we make decisions, we pivot, but we make it happen in essence, you know. And so in this season, it's just how to gain that rapport in a sweet way, whereby they're like, it's like they still trust you to say, oh, by the way, I tried this today. Like, oh, okay. What's the experience like, and what are your considerations? I talked recently, Quinn, to one of my good friends. He's older than I am. He's got 20-year-olds and he's a granddad now. But I asked him, like, what's your best parenting advice? And do you know what he said to me? He said, I said yes every time. I'm like, no. He's like, sorry, I didn't even say that. It's so dramatic. Like, no. But he said, I said yes every time, on the premise that they can answer 3 questions for me first. So the answer is always yes if you can give me really good answers to these 3 questions. Number 1, how does this benefit you personally? Okay, that's easy. How does it benefit your community around you? Oh. And then how does this impact your long-term plans in the future? And I thought, oh. So in essence, like, they almost had to verify for themselves in a really, you know, thoughtful way why they should be doing whatever they're doing, and give solid reasons to it. I was like, I like that. So
that is amazing. Both of those are like great advice and like things that you don't really think about. Like that's
So I talked to my ex because we co-parent together. I'm like, we should try this. So it was really sweet. So she sent me a text a week ago. Our youngest daughter, she wanted to go to her friends after school, so she kind of put her through the paces, and seeing the response was actually really, really cool. She's like,
try that.
I know, you should talk to your fiance about that, perhaps.
That's amazing.
I thought so too. And what a way to like really coach them into independent thinking.
Yeah.
Right? That's intentional.
Yeah.
That's on purpose, you know? I thought that was really sweet.
That's so incredible, yeah.
I thought so too.
Yeah, and like you said, like, being really aware and intentional about what you're doing and understanding, Because how do you teach that unless you use an activity like that, right? Like, that's hard to teach.
Especially an activity where they're bought in, because they want to do whatever they're asking.
Yeah.
You're just making them work for it now in a way that develops their ability in the future.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that.
You're
We're gonna
welcome,
try
God.
that.
I'm glad. I'm glad.
That's awesome.
I'll pass that on to my friend. I'll say, we're changing the world.
Yeah, you're spreading it around.
Absolutely.
I wonder where he learned that, or if he just like.
Well, he's one of these individuals. I really admire him. This community that I've been spending time in, which he's a part of, I'm fairly new to that community of friends, mind you, and like-minded people. He's eclectic. So I see him more often now because he facilitates what we call dance church, and it's not churchy at all. It's more like, so I'm part of this community that I was almost adopted into, whereby so just a bit of backstory here because we had the time.
Yeah.
So a couple of years back, one of my close friends, she's really into the Burning Man community. She invited me to a few dances. Ever since, I've loved going to many dances. As a result, I have been discouraged from dancing for a lifetime. Bless you, by the way. But going to these dances, I'm in a season of life where I really don't give a rip what people think at all. Like, I'm just, and so I've been able to take that energy to the dance floor. And at these EDM raves that I go to, I'm I'm older than you by maybe a good decade and a half. So all that to say, like, I have a lot of 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds, but 20-year-olds particularly, who think I'm in their generation. Even when I pick them up, they're like, "No, you're 20." They can't
I'm
believe.
shocked.
Okay, so I'm getting used to this. So
How old are you?
I'll be 45 this year.
That's shocking.
So,
Not look 45.
so I'm learning. All that to say, not only do I look young, or I'm learning that I look young, but I also have so much energy. And in a lifetime, even in this season, I have less energy than I did before, but I'm still super energetic. So on the dance floor, I give it. Like, I'm there the whole night, and I'm energetic. And now I've never taken dance lessons, but I move because I'm a musician. I know how to understand music. So the moves that I do are quite unique, and people often come to me and express how much they love the energy and the moves that I do that they've never seen before. They also especially love that I can do it without caring what people think, and that gives them permission to do the same. But someone came up to me at one time, they're like, "Oh man, you're amazing at this ecstatic dance." I said, "I don't know what you're talking about." They're like, "What you're doing is ecstatic dance." I'm like, "You don't say." I did not know there's a word for it. And I'm doing this at an EDM rave, so the way I dance is so unique, unlike anyone else, but it works, and everyone's like, "Okay, that's like something worthwhile." So from there, they started inviting me to their gatherings, and it's just basically people who are intentional about using music and dance to sort of like recalibrate internally, emotionally, and all the things. It's just a beautiful space. And so they get together, they love expressing themselves that way. It's just a really sweet community. So this individual that was giving me that piece of advice, he facilitates one of those dance church. And when he curates his space for, dancing and so on, he has some principles that he operates off of. One of the interesting ones is there's no caretaking allowed here. So when you see someone who's emotional and, like trying to go through the fields or whatever, we're going to give them sovereignty and space to figure that out for themselves without being interrupted. We're going to give them space to, like, sort of process on their own. So all those caretakers, he'll stay in the room. You're off shifts tonight. You do your own thing, let other people do it, unless they explicitly ask, of course,
Yeah.
So it's just that kind of dynamic. He talks about confidentiality is a good part of it too, but there's also like other elements such as oh, what is it? Like, they're really unique settings that help keep safety in play. And so he's the one that gave me that insight into parenting.
So that makes sense. That adds up.
Yeah, he's quirky. I would say he's quirky, but in a delightful sense. And so I appreciate his input and influence that way.
Life experience.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's fascinating. Yeah, what a cool community.
It really is. So when you're not social working, and when you're social working, that's a funny way to say it. And when you're not like, stepmomming and partnering, what makes you you?
I don't know. That is me. I mean, we're at that age now where that is really what I do most of the time. But I
Right.
also I spend a lot of time with my friends. It's so funny of us. There's like 10 of us that grew up together in Airdrie, stayed in Airdrie, so just like such a unique group that we have. That's
It's
very
intimate.
common. Yeah, that we've known since between like preschool to like grade 4, and then we're all back in Airdrie again. So that's a cool thing.
Okay, so part of that inspires more curiosity is usually those settings, from what I've heard, women can be like really catty. How do you guys keep it from the toxic zone that you guys genuinely appreciate and invest in each other?
I think it's honestly how long we've been friends. Like when you've been friends for like 20, 25 years, from when you were a child too, so saw each other develop. Like I feel like we've been through that when we were younger, and we're at a stage now where like we're not, And then also I think in your 30s you're more confident to like.
Sorry, by the way, just a quick aside, one of my favorite views here.
I know it's beautiful, isn't
I just wish there was a setting in which you could pull off to the side and see all of this. This would be really amazing.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so.
Yeah, you're saying that you really appreciate.
Yeah, I feel like when you go through that, those stages of life together, you become more. Yeah, like we've been through all of that, right? We
Yeah.
don't want to do that again. And I think when you're in your 30s, you're like more confident
I could see that.
to say what you want
Yeah.
and like share opinions and hear and listen and not, because there's obviously differences, but
Sure.
yeah.
There's maturity.
Exactly.
It's your experience in life.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
And you
yeah.
get that investment when you've been friends for so long. Right? So.
I could see that. How did you and your fiancé meet?
Online.
Oh, no way. No one ever does that nowadays.
I know, right?
Just kidding,
Very
just kidding.
unique.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Cool.
Do you have a partner or no?
Not at the moment. Not at the moment.
That's nice. Being single is fun.
How can I say this? I guess I'm content with it because, here's another way to say this. I am open to connecting, but I'm far more specific on what connection looks like for me now.
Right.
So to that end, there are many, I would say, who, I use the word, are hungry or like just desperate for connection, regardless of if it fits their values or framework of what they want. And then I think you just get to a season like mine where you're like, it really matters the caliber of connection with whoever you're connecting with, that you're on the same page. So I think I'm just more patient in that realm to say I'm open, but I'm also specific, judicious, picky. Choose your
that's
word.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm that way too. Like a lot of my friends got engaged or married in like their 20s, and I'm 31 and just got engaged, and it's just really like was very picky about what I wanted and what I was looking for, and like now it's like at the time I was like, oh, it's never gonna happen, but then you find it and you're like, oh, I'm like glad I was patient and didn't like settle when I was 22.
I feel I've learned a lot more in the aftermath of my marriage.
Yeah.
And in our story, it was me that needed to grow up and figure some stuff out. And sadly, sometimes that happens at the expense of others, right? But no, I'm really grateful for where I'm at now, even though the cost was steep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it sounds like you have a good relationship too. Like,
I'm grateful. Like, she's one of the most important people in my life.
That's
Honestly, yeah. Yeah, I esteem her highly.
That's awesome. Yeah, and it's so important for the kids. Like I'm really close with their mom because
Amazing.
we want to be like a united
this question, I want to preface by saying I would love to entertain or inspire or encourage a no answer.
Sure.
If that's your gut response.
Sounds good.
And I say that just because culturally we don't do well saying no.
Yeah.
And I like encouraging that response with enthusiasm, especially if that's the case.
Yeah.
When I don't do this as a full-time gig, one thing I love doing is I love sharing really inspiring, potently good ideas online on my platforms. A lot of these conversations that I have are like, oh, so juicy and rich. I'm like, I would love for my audience to hear this, but I never post anything unless I have explicit consent. And that's where, and I want to just encourage that no answer, especially because not everyone is wired for being presented online. Now, you're not on my camera here per se, so it would just be your voice.
That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you for asking, but yeah, I know.
You're welcome. So, in towards that end, like, would you be open if I shared that, or is that something you'd be like, I want to refrain from?
No, go ahead.
You're open to that.
Totally good. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Where do you post? On like Instagram or where?
Instagram, TikTok, YouTube.
I'll follow you. What's your...
Oh, you're sweet. It's my name. Binyam.
Oh, right.
Okay. That sounds like one of those alerts.
It's my insulin pump. But
Oh, gotcha.
Okay, so what's your ad?
It's BINYAMASRESS. You'll get to see the video of, well, if you watch the YouTube one, the time I had with the other social worker this morning.
Oh, really? Cool.
So it was such an interesting conversation. Did you find that there?
I did.
Yeah, okay.
That's awesome. What a cool thing to do. Hey, what a good idea.
Thank you.
And like share your experiences. Yeah.
Well, I don't ask just anyone. Like a lot of my conversations can be very personal, and so I'm like, nope, the world has no business in this conversation, as wonderful as it is. But every once in a while, I come across one. I'm like, I would love to be able to showcase this one.
Awesome.
Are you an introvert or an extrovert?
Definitely extrovert.
Okay, so you don't have to work hard at preparing for an evening like tonight.
No, I love it.
That's
I do it all the time. I hate being at home. I want to be like doing stuff.
Oh, it's so sweet.
You seem extroverted too, though.
Me? I'm such an introvert.
Really?
No.
I'm like, no way. Some people do like are kind of a mix, right? Where
True.
Like the
Omnivert, is it?
I don't know. Yeah.
Omnivert? Yeah, ambivert, yeah.
Something like that. Those like mixtures, right?
So I would say I do also enjoy my alone time,
Yeah.
but people don't usually see that part of me
Right.
because I can judiciously make myself unavailable and do my thing and recharge that way too. But no, I also get enrichment from being amongst others. Like one of my riders one time, some months back, was like, when she found out like this is the level that I engage on the regular with my riders, she's like, your social battery. And I'm like, social battery, what an interesting concept. She's like, it's incredible. And I realized, I guess not everyone has access to this level of energy, you know,
Right.
to keep engaging. And
Keep up. Yeah.
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 I guess another way to say it is you and I would make really good running mates in a marathon socially.
Yeah, I think so too.
Well, for so many reasons, I thoroughly enjoyed my time with you.
So did I. Thank you so much.
My pleasure, dear.
I so appreciate this and talking to you, and I hope you have a great day and that no one's ever mean to you again.
Oh, come now. I get practice with mean people.
Yeah.
But I really meet them. That's why I need practice, right?
So true.
No, there's a way of like establishing boundaries and so on, I find, right?
No, it's so true.
Yeah. So you have to take that every once in a while, is that right?
It's attached to me all the time.
Oh, I see. Okay. So it kind of gives you readings and so on.
Yeah, so it's like maybe that makes sense. Turned it off and I forgot to turn it back on.
I
Yeah.
see.
I'll just hop out here actually.
Sounds
Thank
good,
you so
darling.
much. Lovely to meet you.
Happy trails, dear.
Take care.
Bye.
Thank you.